Welcome to the Militia Gaming community. I'm Trigger, and today we get to talk about the 1988 Ferrari F40 in Need for Speed Unbound. Let's go! Alright, real quick before I get into the video, just wanted to show you I do have a website, militiagamingco.com, and on that website you can find all of my builds for both Need for Speed Unbound and Need for Speed Heat. Go there if you're looking for a build. Alright, let's get into it. So in the last wrong build, you guys commented that you liked seeing all of the customization options. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw that up for you right now as I talk about the F40 in general, and then as we get into the builds, I'll show you the build cards and things like that. So here we go. I kind of expected this F40 to be a beast here in Unbound. It was one of the top 5 cars in Need for Speed Heat, and for some reason I figured it would remain on top. As we are finding out though, the meta in Unbound is very different from Need for Speed Heat due to the new handling mechanics. What seems to matter the most is the car's ability to keep speed through corners and accelerate out of them. In Need for Speed Heat, it was similar, but it was actually more about which cars could drift through the corners at high speeds rather than grip them. This F40 does a great job in all 3 of the tiers that I tested at gripping the corners and not losing too much speed. Unfortunately though, I noticed it doesn't have the acceleration out of the corners like the Regera and the FXXK Evo. Now keep in mind, it's still super early and there may be some cars that are out there that the community just hasn't played with yet that will overtake the current meta cars. I'm not sure anything will be faster or more grippy than the Regera though. It feels like I mentioned that car in every single video. But it is the top dog right now, so we are all comparing each car to that high bar that the Regera has set. That being said, this F40 is definitely respectable in each of these classes. It doesn't dominate any of them, which is a little bit disappointing, but it's only disappointing to me because it's my favorite car in real life. I love the fact that it was such a beast in Heat. Anyways, let's talk about the A+ build first. I'll go ahead and throw up this build card as I go through some of my notes for this tier. First, it seems to be best at races with a lot of turns. Corner Kings and street races are definitely its friend, and it struggles with races that only test its top speed ability. I could have built it differently, I guess, and maximized the top speed, but in doing that, I would have had to have sacrificed a lot of the things that make this car good in literally every race that isn't a speed race. And even when I built it for top speed, it still wasn't even as fast as cars like the 2000 Civic or the 71 Skyline. So I'm going to suggest you stick with my corner build. Alright, moving on to the S build. Here's the build card if you'd like to screenshot it for later use. There were 2 engines that performed almost identically, which forced me to go back and double check my work. The 592 horsepower V8 and the flat 6 finished my testing with only 0.07 of a second between them. Even though I ran these tests multiple times, user error could definitely explain 0.07 of a second. But nonetheless, I still have to give you a recommendation, and I'm going to say the 592 horsepower V8. It has the highest top speed stat of 213, the highest horsepower of 602, and it technically ran the fastest times. Although these times are respectable, cars like the Vulcan absolutely destroy them. The Vulcan is a much more expensive car to build though, and I think if you drive the F40 right, you can definitely have a chance in pretty much every race online. Alright, moving on to the last build of the video, the S+. Here's the build card for you. Alright, so this was one of the hardest cars to test in S+, and it's because it feels pretty unstable at higher speeds. I was reluctant to make any sudden steering moves because I didn't really want the back end to slip out. That being said, it definitely feels fast to drive. I ran better times with this F40 than with the Bugatti, and it was only a combined 1 second behind the Vulcan, which again is a much more expensive build. There was a clear winner in the engine department. The 345 horsepower 4.0 liter V8 beat every other engine by about 1.5 seconds. I do find it strange though that the engine without a single best stat, I guess besides the top speed, it's tied with the 308 horsepower engine for best top speed, managed to be on top when it comes to actually racing. The stats in this game seem to follow the Need for Speed Heat precedent, which is that they don't really indicate real race results all of the time. Notice in the S build, the race stats that were the highest actually ended up being the engine that I recommended, even though it was a close battle for first and second. But in the S Plus build, you notice that the best engine really didn't have a best stat, meaning it didn't have the best horsepower or the best torque or any of that. So there must be some other factors such as weight that we can't really see that contribute to the car's acceleration and handling. It was also my suspicion in Need for Speed Heat as well, but I'm just guessing. I have no real idea as to what is causing these cars to perform better or worse, and that's why I literally have to test every single engine to figure this out. But there you have it. Another wrong build in the books. I really appreciate you watching, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me via DM, either on Instagram, Twitter, or Discord, and I respond to Instagram way faster. I check it much more often. All right, shout out to all the Heat 5 members of the channel, and of course, welcome to 2023, everybody. Trigger out.